Real Body Coach Sam, welcome back to the pod, sir. Good to have you.
Good to be back. Thank you for having me again.
So I was just looking at some photos where you were looking especially jacked and juicy. You did a photo shoot. Yeah, what's up, man? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's one of those things where I just woke up one morning and thought, why not? Prep went into deciding to do this. Essentially, the last couple of years, and for anyone watching or listening, if you watched our previous podcast, you'll know a little bit about my journey and my story. But the last couple of years, I've had some personal stuff. I've had some injuries. It's kind of all resulted at the start of this year, just me feeling a little bit unfulfilled, not very happy with the physique that I had, the routines that I had, considering I'm someone that has over a decade of knowledge and experience. I didn't quite think my look reflected that. And so obviously the logical solution is book a photo shoot for 16 weeks time and get oiled up, get tanned up, get super lean, get your top off and get in front of a camera. That's the obvious solution.
Okay, so for anyone watching YouTube or anyone who wants to jump over to YouTube right now, I'm going to put pictures of Sam up here in photo shoot condition. Looking shredded, my man. Like really, really good to see. Is this your best condition ever, do you think? How would you rate yourself here?
Yeah, I would say it's the leanest I've ever gotten for sure. For comparison, when I did my last proper shoot where I got considerably lean, I was 2021 and I weighed 2 pounds lighter this time. And I definitely gained a little bit of muscle in that time frame as well. So I was definitely my leanest, definitely the best package, to speak the language, that I brought to some sort of condition. Yeah, definitely my leanest for sure.
Okay, nice. You've talked about these injuries that you've had. You're feeling in a little bit of a funk. I guess one thing I want to pull out here is that it's all relative. Sam, at that time, you could have walked at any pool or beach. 99% of the guys around there would be like, man, I'd love to be in shape like that guy. And maybe if you were sat at the bar having a beer, they might have been like, dude, what diet are you doing, right? But it's all relative, right? It's all relative. And the other thing I'd like to point out is that, let's say, because I think sometimes people get a bit judgy and I don't really like that, but you might look at someone and be like, oh, that guy needs to lose weight. Some people think like that, right? I don't personally. But what you don't know is that guy might have already lost 50 pounds and be in the best shape of his life and is feeling incredible. So the thing here is it's always relative, right? Like we talk about this when we have clients who cut, right? Everyone who cuts first on their way to eventually bulking, they all have this point where they're like, oh, no, I'm feeling too skinny now, right? Because for them, they're feeling too skinny, right? For other people out there, so many people would look and they would absolutely dream to look like that. But the point being, it's all relative. So you, in your situation, you wanted a forcing function to help nudge yourself, get motivated and take yourself to the next level. You chose a photo shoot, booked your photographer, a room, a date. That was it. Set, done. And then how did that go? Because it wasn't all butterflies and rainbows, was it?
No, not at all. And I think for anyone listening or watching, when you commit to something like this, it does a few things. It focuses you. You have to set up your life to support this for a small window of time. Okay. It's really, really important that people understand that the way that I will talk today and the process I will take you through, this is not to say you should take that and copy and paste it into your setup, right? But if you're looking to go from 0 to 100 in 6 seconds, which is what a photo shoot prep is, the machine has to be working properly, which means your routine's locked in, your environment's locked in, your food prep's locked in. Your life is now revolving around this specific thing for a short period of time. And because of that, certain things have to shift, certain things have to move. And obviously as well, with Andy referring to not everything being butterflies and rainbows, I am someone that breaks easily. My body breaks down quite quickly, unfortunately, frustratingly. And so I did have about 3 weeks out from the shoot date, a bit of a fork in the road moment where my neck and trap injury reoccurred. Couldn't lift, I couldn't overhead press, I couldn't pull through my right arm. And so it was a case of, well, I've got my shoot 3 weeks from now, which we all agreed that unless the world was ending, I wasn't going to move. Do I keep dieting? Do I keep pushing through that I was getting to the point where I was going to be really hungry, and pushed through that, knowing that I might risk not looking my absolute best ever, which was the goal. And I did a bit of soul searching for about 6 hours, which doesn't sound like that long, but when you're just thinking about food all the time, I promise you it's a long time. I went through that process and I decided that it might not be my best ever, but this was going to be the best that I could look with the situation I'm in right now. And once I made that decision, I flipped the trigger and that was what I was going to do. So I went through all the rest and recovery that I needed to. And the week of the shoot, I could train anyway. So it was all a bit of a mountain out of a molehill, which is what happens when you get that lean. You start catastrophizing certain things. But no, I was very pleased that I came through that.
Okay, so there's 2 avenues I want to go down here. So first is, what was your process for training around the injury? This is going to echo or going to have similarities to how I trained around my own injury from the previous pod that we did together. And the other one is, if you're saying that it kind of sounds like you did for the prep almost the opposite of what we recommend most clients do. We want what we do with our clients to fit in with their lives, but you temporarily made your life fit in with this. So which path do you want to take first, Sam?
I think the listeners / watchers will get a ton of value of understanding how I broke the 16 weeks down. Because if you feel like this sucked, Sam was hungry, Sam was miserable, Sam got injured, sounds all like, oh, why would anyone do this, right? But I want to reassure you that actually it's only really the last 2 to 3 weeks that really suck, right? And in fact, when you're going through a process like this, and especially when you work with us, we break it down, right? Andy does a fantastic job of mapping out your roadmap before you even meet me or Matt or get coached, right? And I had to do the same for me. And if we hit foot to the floor into 5th gear straight away, you break at the first turn, essentially. So the way I set up the first 6 to 8 weeks would be no different to what I would ask for a client to do. And it may be interesting that you could show, you got the photos like where I started and where I was about 6, 8 weeks in.
Yep.
That might be what people want, right? And that is realistic.
But your starting photo is what a lot of people want, Sam. Let's be fair.
True. Okay, fine.
Okay. But yeah. Okay. So that actually, I would say your 6 weeks in, your halfway in photo is kind of maximum leanness, maximum realistic leanness level for a lot of people and perhaps beyond for a lot of people. Because many people, they're just not going to be able to get there or be able to sustain that. Just the body's going to fight back too hard. And this is probably going to end up being where you settle, quite frankly, right? But you're looking to push through and get temporarily exceptionally lean for a specific look, for, in your case, a shoot. Even more extreme, say a 2 to 3 body fat percentage points even leaner. That would be on stage at a bodybuilding show, just for context there for people. Because again, just to make this clear, this common misconception, because, social media just gives people the wrong impression of things. Bodybuilders do not walk around like in their stage condition all year. And it's not because they're bulking for the rest of the year and that's why. It's because they cannot possibly sustain it, because they've starved their way there and they're an absolute emotional and physical wreck by the time they're on the stage. They just look incredible.
The best heuristic you can use, guys, is the better someone looks, you can almost guarantee that's how bad they feel. Right? That is a really good heuristic. The 4 or 5 days out from my shoot, there were no smiles. Right? These facial muscles didn't know how to smile. Right? You're miserable until you start eating food again. And you go through these really upward and down trajectories of your emotions those last couple of weeks. And if you see someone on social media that is that level of leanness all year round, start asking some questions.
Yeah. Not even drugs can get you that level of lean and stay happy.
Oh, no.
No.
Unfortunately not.
No. So you said the first 8 weeks, it was pretty much what you'd recommend to clients then. What is it that changes after those 8 weeks?
Yeah, sure. So I think maybe the first 8 weeks, I lost about 10 to 12 pounds and I was doing the usual stuff, right? I tracked my food well, I hit my steps, I prioritize recovery. What changed is the severity of the deficit. Okay. It went from being a moderate deficit, which I could have continued on with for another 16, 24 weeks quite comfortably. But the time frame dictated the severity of the deficit. So I wasn't losing at a rate of loss that I knew I needed to hit to be in the condition that I wanted to be in come shoot day. So it's a simple thermodynamics equation. If I carry on at this trajectory, I'm going to feel bad when I see those photos. In order for me to feel bad now, but look great on the day, this is the choice that I've made. And this is the road that I've decided to drive down, walk down. So I ranged from anywhere from sort of 16 to 1800 calories in those first 8 weeks. We then dropped to somewhere between 1300 and 1400 for the remaining 4 to 6 weeks.
So you effed up. Now, I'm not saying that this is not a criticism, I should say, because we cannot precisely know what calories we need to get X amount of weight loss per week. It is an estimation, and we can have past data to pull on, but it is an estimation that we make. But let's say that you had set your calorie intake purposefully to be, I don't know, a slower rate of weight loss initially, and then a faster rate of weight loss towards the end. That is the opposite of how you'd want to do things, because the leaner we get, the greater the risk of muscle loss. And that happens because it's just harder for the body to get access to the increasingly limited fat stores to fuel itself. And so really you kind of want to do the opposite way if you are short of time. Now, I mean, if I was to use that word again, ideally, we'd have more time in the first place. But hey, that's just how it is.
I'll be the first person to say that to get in the mindset of a photo shoot prep, that is an all or nothing approach those last 6 or 8 weeks, which again is far removed from what we would teach for a maintenance level of sustaining a body composition that is actually sustainable. So for that purpose, when you're locked in tracking every single gram, you're being that person at social events where some of our clients will feel maybe a little bit awkward, or they don't feel good saying no, or they don't feel good making adjustments. Well, for me, it's like, I'm not saying no, I'm not making adjustments. I'm just water, please. No food, no alcohol, no anything. To be that locked in, I don't want to spread that out over many, many weeks, many, many months. I want to take all of the pain, if you will, or the suffering that you choose and put it all into a finite period. That's just how I approach my photo shoot preps. It's not how everyone needs to do it. That's just my approach.
Preps, multiple. This is your third one, was it?
Yeah, third one. I did my first one in 2017, 2021, and then I did like a lifestyle type one a few years ago, but I had a break. Oh, it's every 4 years. Every 4 years.
There we go.
I didn't plan that.
You're an Olympian. Okay, so you're sick in the head quite clearly, Sam. But you decided that you need it. This was your medicine. So what was the moment that you realized or decided that this is for me? Like, you've talked about how you didn't feel that how you looked, you'd had some injuries, you'd had something happen in your life, and you said that you didn't feel that you looked the way you should given your training history, job, etc. However, these things aren't a snapping moment, right? They're not a moment in time. What was it, that specific moment that you were like, no, I need to do this? What happened?
You bang on, like there's a build up and then there's a tipping point, right? And the build up had been months of just coasting through sessions. And I think when you've been lifting as long as we have, you can get into a routine with it. It feels like brushing your teeth. Brushing your teeth's not that exciting. Training wasn't exciting. I wasn't waking up, preparing my meals, being excited to get to the gym and train. It was just going through the motions. And that had been for a long time. And so the combination of not feeling particularly great, not loving how I looked comparative to how I've looked in the past and where I know I could be, perhaps should be, I just wanted to have real purpose with my training and my nutrition. And the really cool thing that happens when you do that is the knock-on benefits that happen in the other areas of your life, because you have to be more structured. So my work productivity went through the roof. My other health markers for the first few weeks were really good. Like I felt good. I had good energy. I felt like I was more present in the evenings with my partner because my work had been smashed throughout the day because I'm so locked in. And so I know that's what happened on my previous preps. And I wanted that again going into the summer this year.
Okay, but the day that you decided that you're gonna do it again,
Right,
what
yeah.
happened? Yeah, that's what I want to know. What happened?
The day that I said, like, this is the one I'm going to do the shoot.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the shoot. F it, I'm gonna do the shoot.
Yeah, I can remember it was in February and just coming out of the Christmas period where I felt literally my worst. And I looked at my previous photos from a previous shoot.
Okay,
and
this is the truth.
It was like, yeah, it was February. I know that last time I did a shoot, it was August, the end of August, I did one. I was like, I don't want to diet over the whole summer. So March was going to be the start date as for the prep. So we set July 4th. It's not moving no matter what. And instantly, once that date gets set, your whole aura, mindset, outlook shifts. And that is what I knew I needed. You know, some people don't need that kind of North Star or end point, but let me tell you, when you put a deadline on something, you get shit done.
Would you say this was easier because you'd had the experience from the past?
I will say there's never an easy diet. It's all relative. Okay. So for me to get into like beach shape, like you said, like most people might want to look like my before pictures, right? That's not that challenging for me anymore. For me to relate to clients when they're going through their challenges for their diets, a photo shoot prep is relative to me a challenge.
Yep.
Right. And so would I say this was easier? There were other, like the injury that popped up gave it a difficulty. I wouldn't say it was easier. I would say I knew what had to be done. And so you still experience the discomfort, you still experience the hunger, the tiredness, the fatigue, but you just sort of accept it. There's this low level of like grumpiness that you're like, you chose this, you idiot, like suck it up. Right. Whereas the first time you go through that, that's all new. And you're like, I didn't know I was signing up for this. So I don't know if easy is the right word. I think there's an acceptance. I think that's how I would position it. I don't know how you feel about that, but yeah, I think I just accepted what I had signed up for.
Okay. Yeah. And it was just a case of making the most of it. So tell me, give us an idea of what did your training look like? What did your diet look like? So demystify this as much as possible, because I think people might be thinking, this must have been some quite fancy advanced stuff that Sam was doing. And I literally have no idea because I wasn't looking after this and Matt wasn't looking after this. This was all self-coached. So what is it that you were doing?
Yeah. So the first few weeks, I just cleaned up my diet. Like I was just cleaned it up. Like,
what does that mean for you?
Yeah. So I am someone that traditionally would snack. I do like a snack, right? So I stopped snacking. I ate 3 meals a day. That was it. That's all I changed in the first 4 weeks. Because don't forget, guys, my habits and automatic behaviors are locked in. So if I can do that and lose weight for the first 4 or 5 weeks, no problem. After that is when it was the calorie tracking. I had specific macros and calories to hit. So I had to hit somewhere between 16 and 1700 calories for about 4 or 5 weeks. I was hitting 160 to 170 grams of protein, and I let my carbs and fats sit where they may. I didn't obsess over a specific carb number or a specific fat number. I ate to my preference. Okay.
Yep.
Now, I am someone that needs to have a plan in place, my food prepped so that I don't think about it. I'm a big believer in making all your decisions up front so that during the week, you're just living it. You're just taking action. It's so much easier that way. And we recommend that to clients.
Yeah.
So for me, when I set up my week, I knew that I had 2 options for breakfast, 2 options for lunch, 2 options for dinner. And my pre-bed snack was a Ninja Creamy, which, by the way, has changed the game. Now,
what is that?
I'll have to send you some pictures of what I make. So a Ninja Creamy is an ice cream machine, okay, that you just make obscenely tasty ice cream with protein powder, almond milk, and that's literally it. So you can have a protein ice cream, a whole pint, that's about 200 calories. And if you've got some good tasting protein powder when you're 6 weeks out from a shoot, it tastes like Ben and Jerry's. Like, but I'm still enjoying it now, 4 weeks post shoot. The difference is I can have mix-ins. So I can have like some Oreos in there, some Reese's peanut butter cups, like whatever it is, like I can mix that in and it just increases the calories, increases the enjoyment. But that was my setup. So I had 2 options for breakfast, 2 options for lunch, 2 for dinner, and that every night. Okay. Breakfast, Greek yogurt, berries, dark chocolate. Like really enjoy that.
Be right back.
Really enjoy that.
I'm just going on my Amazon app.
Honestly,
my fat inner child is coming out here.
It's not, I'm a sucker for ice cream. And the Ninja Creamy is an investment that will get you to sub 10% body fat, I promise. Like not that I'm a plugger for Ninja.
Pop the affiliate link in the email and YouTube comment.
But yeah, back to my meal structure. It was either some sort of Greek yogurt bowl, which I really enjoyed, was somewhere around 300 to 350 calories, or it would be a fat protein based breakfast on a rest day. So that would be like eggs, bacon medallions, mushrooms, tomatoes, onions, really nice omelette, very filling. Okay. Lunch, chicken salad or tuna salad, lean, very voluminous. And then dinner would be a beef-based meal. I really like mince, so it was like a chili or a high-protein lasagna or low-carb lasagna. That was it. Weekends, I had more flexibility.
And the key with that, I would guess, is that you're choosing like 95% lean mince rather than, say, 90, 85, 80, right?
Correct.
Or just unmonitored, yeah. Because otherwise those fat calories will very quickly add up.
This is something that I think will be a huge takeaway. If you calorie plan your week, not just meal plan, you haven't got to be tracking day to day because you've done the thinking on the Sunday or the Saturday for the week. So you've already pre-calculated your nutrition. So you just have to weigh the foods, sure, but that takes 10 seconds per meal maybe. But you're not sitting there entering things into an app day to day because that is where people forget. They slip up. They forget that they had a mouthful over here, a mouthful over there. If you calorie plan your week, you've got your options, you've gone to the supermarket, you've shopped correctly. It's like doing it on easy mode.
Yeah, I think one of the issues that people often have is they'll get this idea of tracking calories and their first port of call is to use the app to track their new diet. They've never tracked their old diet. And so they end up trying to track foods or meals that they're not used to having, and then trying to match that to a calorie target or even more detailed, a macro target. And they find that they feel that they're on a food hunt all day, trying to pick up the right color Mario coins, right, by the end of the day, and not quite too many and not too few. And then they're unable to sustain it. Whereas what we'd recommend is you get your nutrition logging app, MacroFats we love. You log what your week is now without changing anything. Now, of course, there's research to suggest that the act of actually logging food does tend to nudge people to change what they eat. But like ignoring that, try not to change what you're eating, log it, get practice with the app, then figure out, okay, what changes are you going to make after? And then, so yeah, as you said, all of the work is done up front so that you're then not having to think later on, or you're minimizing the thinking, especially when you're fatigued.
Yeah. Also, we're all busy. We've got shit to do. Yeah. Like the idea that someone's got the free time to be figuring that out as you go, and that's not who we are. And it's not really who we work with. You're planning it, you're prepping it, you're doing it. It just makes life easier.
Yeah. But of course, that takes a mindset of, I am going to do this in advance because I'll reap the rewards. It's, I don't know, like, are you the type of person who you're planning retirement via buying random meme coins, or are you dollar cost averaging into the stock market each week and that's your retirement plan, right? If you're the meme coin guy, this isn't going to hold any interest for you. If you're the DCA guy into the ETFs, then into your index funds, then hey, yeah, this is probably for you, right? You're planning ahead is what I'm saying, right? You know, you're not gambling your efforts on something. Tell us, what did your training look like?
Sure. So I did my course split, if you like, was 4 days. Okay. So I did a push day, upper body push, upper
Mm.
body pull. I did a lower day, and then I did a full body, and then I did 2 full bodies. So it was push, pull, and then 2 full body days. That was just to distribute my volume as I need to do it. I've been doing this a long time. I know what my body responds well to. No more than 5 or 6 exercises per workout, 2 to 4 sets per exercise. And most of my reps were performed in the 6 to 15 rep range. I said earlier, my body breaks. I see no upside to lifting heavier than 6 reps, and anything above 15 for me personally just starts to feel like a cardio workout, which as a religion, I'm kind of against. I don't do running. I know, Annie, you like to cycle, but
I
my
used to.
cardio is going.
We know this is dangerous.
Sorry.
Did you see me
That's
wince in pain about 10 minutes ago, by the way? I totally forgot that my elbow's broken and I leaned on it and I was like, oh, yeah, no.
I missed that, but the watchers might have caught it. But yeah, no, I don't do cardio as a rule. I try not to anyway. So yeah, 4-day split. However, I did give myself an optional 5th day, and that was what I called it, like my fun day. It would be delt and arms naps. If I ever had the time on the weekends, I would jump in for 45 minutes, get a really good pump. I'm getting leaner each week. I felt good. I'd recommend that as well. 4 days, this is when I'm locked in, I'm training, I'm tracking everything, and I'm looking to progress. That 5th day for me was like going old bro school, like when I used to do it back in the early 2010s before I knew any better. It was fun. And so I do that for 30, 45 minutes, maybe a handful of times throughout the prep.
Yeah, I've got 2 clients that do that as well. I'd say the key rules we have around that are you do your main workouts, make sure those are in. Like, this isn't sacrificed. You're not sacrificing one of those for this. The second part is you've got to have the energy for it and so the enthusiasm for it. And the third thing is it cannot detract from those main workouts. And that could be that you're feeling more fatigued and that's affecting performance in your main workouts. Or it could be that you're starting to get aches and pains, and we want to be avoiding that before that leads to something a bit more. So yeah, I'm all for that. Like recently I've been far more loose. A friend has been getting into tremendous shape in the gym after struggling with his weight all of his life. He's now in amazing shape. And I'll go into the gym in the mornings and he's in there about 15 minutes before me, and he's very short on time because he's in at 5:45. I'm usually there at 6 and he's got to be out by 6:30 to take his son. So I will often just join him. That'll kind of be my warm up. And then I'll kind of fill in whatever else around there. And I've just kind of been enjoying doing that as well and playing it a little bit loose, even though I know it's not necessarily the ideal split. It's not necessarily about what's ideal. It's like, okay, are you having fun? Right. And is it getting the job done? Which it is.
Exactly.
And I am. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm at a slight tangent and maybe slightly opposite to what this podcast is, but you got to optimize for enjoyment. Otherwise, what are you optimizing for? In a prep, my training is optimized for enjoyment, but it also is optimized for optimization as well, because you're not eating a lot of food. So that hour in the gym, I'm like, it's my 1 hour of the day where I'm really happy. I want to make that an enjoyable experience. Yeah. I train, this might be interesting for the listeners or watchers, but I tend to train fasted first thing in the morning because I'm busy, like most of you watching, listening. If I'm in the gym by 6:30 a.m. and I'm home by 8 a.m. on my training days, and I get it in before the hunger ever hits, and it's the best feeling as well, knowing that you've done it, it's done and dusted, and you haven't got to worry about optimizing anything around your training. And it's a really, really good way to set it up if you feel like you are busy and you can't fit things in. So that's a little hack.
Yeah, I'll do the same. Yeah, quite a lot of clients do the same as well. It's before the day beats the living hell out of them, right?
Exactly.
Or they get home and the kids are there and they want to like hang, right? And it's like, no, I've got to go off to the gym. Nah, it's just not going to roll, right?
Correct.
Yeah. You have the injury, you're 3 weeks out. How is it you train around that?
Yeah. The first 7 days afterwards, complete like rest on it. I would train around it. I couldn't do any sort of pressing or pulling, but bicep curls were okay. Tricep extensions were okay on that arm. So cool. I kept that in. Everything else, this side of the body, keep going. Nothing changed. Everything that was bilateral just became unilateral. to keep the consistency going with the gym, to keep the routine locked in place. It'd been very easy to go, well, I can't train these 5 or 6 exercises, so I guess I won't train for a week. It's like, so you mean the other 50 exercises you can do, you're just not going to bother?
Mm-hmm.
Like, listen to yourself. Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So trained what I could in the way that I could, and I progressed what I could. After a week of not doing the movements that exacerbated any issues or any pain, I went back in. I did it extremely lightweight, similar to what Andy's doing right now, 5 RPE, if that. I just wanted to move the muscles through the range of motion on an exercise and see where I was at. If the pain was registering at a 4 or below, good to go. Start loading it, put some load through it, and I was just increasing the reps and sets as I went then from then on for the next 2 weeks. And by the time I got to the shoot day, you're not really training close to failure. You're not pushing the volume anyway. So it was kind of just a rest, recover, work, and then ramp up to the point where after the shoot now I'm 4 weeks since, and it's absolutely fine. And I'm working it like I would have done before having it sort of re-injure. And I think most people panic and they let the stress of the situation overwhelm them, and they make the decision to just never train it again for 2 or 3 weeks. So it seizes up, it gets stiff, it doesn't really recover, it just sort of locks up. You've got to really be methodical. And Andy and I outlined this in our previous podcast. So I was pleased that I handled it that way.
Yeah, well, I've got a guy who's flown in for a high rocks competition that's on the weekend, and he's nursing a calf injury. So we got him in at a physio today. And yeah, high rocks involves a lot of running. And ultimately, he's only going to be able to see on the day whether he'll be able to actually do it. And we'll know that by the warm up. The most important is the Delhi competition. Sorry, I think it's in Mumbai, India. And that's in a month's time. So he doesn't want to do anything here, like push through the pain to try and get, I mean, he may get top 4, top 5 if he was on peak form, but he's got a shot at winning the Indian competition, which would then give him entry into Worlds. So yeah, it is a case of trying to remain sensible. I mean, a lot of people, they will have flown to Japan for it and they will just push through the pain and do it regardless. And I can understand that, but you need to think about the longer term consequences of that.
I couldn't agree more with that. It's one of those things where you do have to, and I think I use this a lot with client interactions, like zoom out, take a 30,000 foot view. Like what are we optimizing for the rest of your life? Not just this 10, 12, 16 week period. It's difficult to do that when you're in the weeds. That's why it's beneficial to have someone pull you out and have that objective view for you.
Yeah. Oh, and just to clarify, I want to say a guy, he's a buddy of mine. He's not a client. We don't train high rocks people. They're always getting their shirts off.
Start randomly running around the place or doing press-ups in the street. It's weird.
Oh, the irony. What does a shoot actually involve? And now we're going to put up a side-by-side comparison here of you under lighting and you without the magic lighting. I know Ben Carpenter back in the day, he's did a really good post on this, just to highlight that what you see in the magazines is not what people actually look like. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what the shoot involved?
This will feel like magic, what I'm about to describe, because it's science and art, but I still think it's magic, right? So in the 5 days leading up to the shoot, you'll hear people say flat. And what they mean by flat is that you've got no carbs in you really. So your muscles just sort of sag against the skin. There's no hardness. You're not really getting a pump anymore. So that's you 5 days out. You've done the dieting, you've done the hard bit. In the lead up to the shoot, you have to eat more carbohydrates, okay? So that fills up the glycogen stores, the muscles start pushing up against your skin, you start to feel human again. It's really awesome. You start to like, each day, you're eating more carbs and you look better and you're like, what the F is going on? And that's basically the process and the lead up to it. I went from 80 carbs a day I went to 125, 150, 175, 200 over about 4 or 5 days. Okay. I'm feeling good. Like the veins are coming out. Awesome. Day of shoot or evening before, I had a high carb meal the evening before. because I knew I was shooting at 9. Yeah, it was 9. Morning of, you have Cocoa Pops. You literally grind salt into the Cocoa Pops. A small whey protein shake. That was about 6 a.m. And I just wanted to see in the mirror, like, okay, do I feel like there's room for me to carb up more or not? Bearing in mind, right, this is all being done to precision for 9 a.m. So the pictures you've seen, guys, I will never look like that at 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. on the same day. That's how temporary this look is you see on social media, on magazines, and in movies as well, by the way. So I have my Cocoa Pops, I let that digest. On the 15-minute walk to the location from my hotel to the gym, I then have a small Snickers bar. Why, you ask? Fats, really fantastic when you are just carb loading in that initial quick period. Sugar, and I had a bag of ready salted crisps. This jack dude who's lean and tanned and walking down the street in London, it's really sunny, and he's smashing a ready salted bag of crisps and a Snickers bar. Looks
ready
weird.
salted
but...
means crisps and potato chips.
Oh, potato chips. Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah.
Good.
So I mean,
and also because English food is terrible, as everyone the world over knows, our favorite flavor is just salted. And that's when we call that ready salted.
There is function to that as well. The sodium, you need the sodium in.
Yeah.
And then drinking a little bit of water, get there. And as I got there, I got a bit lost actually, but I found him. He found me, got in, and I said, look, I've nearly finished this bag of crisps. I know the deal. We need to get going now because I don't know how long this is going to stay here. That's the food side of it, the liquid side of it. And I can go into specific portions if you like.
I'm already bored, Sam. Go on.
Right.
In fact, yeah.
Right.
So for anyone who wants, okay, so jokes aside, so this stuff is only going to be relevant if you can already see all your abs, right? We're just talking about like really putting the finer point on this. And if this is you, the Muscle and Strength Pyramid books will have this covered. The Muscle and Strength Pyramids, the 3rd editions that we've got coming up soon. I won't put a date on that, but soon. We literally just finished this chapter last week. That has this covered in a lot of detail, the different ways of loading into a competition. So go on, your pump up routine for the show.
Yeah.
Go on, yeah.
Very simple. I just did your triceps just look big and bulky if you pump them up before a shoot, so don't do triceps. I just did some chest flies. I did some single arm lat pull downs, lateral raises, bicep curls. I did 50 to 20 reps, 2 rounds, and then I was good. And it's just about trying to top that pump up if you ever feel like it's going away. I've done this before. It wasn't my first rodeo, so it took me half an hour to get like hundreds of shots, different range of exercises, looks, angles. Let me tell you, that is probably the hardest workout you do for the entire prep is the shoot, because you are tensing. You know, you're trying to hold the earth
Having
together.
a baby, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say something else coming out. But yeah, you're tensing super hard everywhere.
Yeah.
And there's breathing involved. And there's obviously they're like lock in, breathe, now smile. You can't quite figure out how to get everything to work.
Pretend to be happy. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was for half an hour. If you really want the full effect, guys, you got to get oiled up. You got to get oiled up. So
and that's where you got your 3 big ants and men to oil you down, you said, yeah?
It was just the 2.
Yeah, just the 2.
But yeah, they help. Obviously the back and what have you. Oiled up, the lights come on and they direct you around. Like I said, I've done it before, but I shot for about 30, 45 minutes. And my sister is an avid baker and she baked me these Oreo cookies, which I'll send you the pictures actually. The photographer was taking pictures of me eat after the shoot and it's just ecstasy on my face. Just quite fun. But yeah, really good experience. Really enjoyed it. Best shape. If you like feeling, hungry for weeks on end and having low energy, low fatigue, I definitely recommend it.
So you're now 3 or 4 pounds above that weight. And part of that is because you ate into the photo shoot. So you were probably 5 pounds leaner than that then. So, but you're saying that you're now able to sustain, okay, you've got slightly more body fat, but you're feeling able to sustain it. What's the difference in your energy levels, your hunger levels right now compared with your peak for the shoot?
Yeah, fantastic question. So that week leading up to the shoot, you're obviously starting to feel a little bit better, but you're not completely recovered. But you're essentially on zombie mode for the last 2 or 3 weeks. You're existing. You're surviving. You're not living. There's no real joy in anything, which I know sounds dramatic, but it is really true. Like now I'm 4 weeks post, like it'll be 4 weeks tomorrow, and I'm 4 pounds heavier, but I have good libido. My energy is high. I'm sleeping well. That's the other thing. Like you wake up at 4 a.m. hungry, like clockwork. I have none of that. My sleep is good. My routine is still locked in from where it was. And that's what I'm talking about, the benefits. But energy is fine. Training is really good. I'm not hungry. My meal timings are all locked in. A big, big tip is to not suddenly let the floodgates open. You want to be eating what you've been eating and just add to those meals in the form of extra carbohydrates or a fattier cut of meat. I haven't changed anything about my eating habits apart from what I said earlier with the creamy. Like now I have mix-ins.
Right.
Yay. With my Greek yogurt, now I have some granola. Yay. Right. With my chicken salad, I now have some potatoes or rice. With my chili, I now have rice with that chili. With my lasagna, it's now a proper lasagna.
And what's the difference between your calorie intake then and now? What's the jump?
Yeah, so obviously the diet calories in their lowest was 30 to 1,400 calories.
And that's because you ran out of time, right? It would have probably been higher, but you ran out of time and you had to force it. So you had a higher deficit than would have been ideal.
Yeah, for sure. You know, last time I did it, I was 1,500 calories, right? So yeah, it's definitely a time thing. Now I'm eating anywhere from 2,000 to 2,100 and I'm only 4 pounds higher. And I probably, if I'm being completely honest, I need to put on another couple of pounds, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
To feel completely, you know, like normal. I feel great, don't get me wrong, but you're still too much information, but I can still have a bony bump, right? It's not shredded like lean, but I can, when I sit down, I can still feel it. That needs to go. Once that's gone, I know I'm in a good spot.
For anyone listening, if you just look on YouTube right now, here's a picture of Sam's bony bum. No, don't be sending that. Right. Good. I'm glad you confessed to that because I was slightly suspicious about that lack of weight gain and the fact that you're still feeling so good. So, okay, so there's still further that you could push it to still feel even better.
Yeah, I would say I'm like, if 10 is I'm firing on all cylinders and like 1 is deep photo shoot prep, I'm on like a 7.
7, yeah. Okay, that makes sense to me, yeah. Now, just for context, I did say the difference between, say, Sam's photo shoot lean and bodybuilding stage winning lean. The difference here is, say, 4 weeks out, Sam gained 4-ish pounds because, again, he ate up into his show, so he wasn't glycogen depleted and water depleted there. He gained 4 pounds. If he had been bodybuilding, the difference is it would have been a 14-pound gain in that time or something like that, right? So again, just to highlight, there's a massive, massive differences here. But still, a lot of this stuff is leaner than most people will almost ever want to get unless they want a personal challenge. And often that personal challenge, it comes when you get to a certain level and you stay and you're happy, see your abs and you're like, I wonder what it would be like if I took this a little bit further, right? Yeah.
That's what my first photo shoot was. It was exactly that. Yeah. You get curious and then you regret getting curious.
Yeah. So actually, you've written down a question here for me to ask you. And I have no idea why you've written it or how you're going to answer it. So here goes.
Okay.
How has this process changed how you coach?
Yeah. So going through something where there is genuine struggle, because as coaches, we live and breathe this stuff, right? And I think it can be hard, especially for maybe a less experienced coach. But I think people have this view that we're on a pedestal, that we're untouchable, that we live and breathe this, and therefore we are Jesus or God when it comes to this stuff. But I wanted to take myself through the process and feel that hunger, that struggle, to remind myself that it's relative, like you said a lot, and that, you know, just because the client that I'm coaching is trying to get to, 15% body fat, it's relative, like they're struggling too. And to just withhold any kind of prejudice or judgment and always coach from a position of how do I put myself in their shoes so that I can see how they're feeling and then coach from that perspective. So I wouldn't say it's changed it. It's a nice reminder of getting yourself in that coaching headspace so that you're doing the best you can for that client. And I would say that's probably the biggest thing. Anything else? No, I'll say that it's appreciating that we all have our own struggles and they're all relative. And your job is to help manage that, even if you feel like deep down, you're like, why are you struggling with this? And that's not the way to coach.
And for anyone who perhaps they've been listening to this and they're thinking, you talked about going through the motions earlier and you kind of caught yourself. You felt that you were just going through the motions and that you hadn't really been seeing improvements and you had started to lose motivation. What would you say to someone who identifies with that feeling?
I would say sit down without any distractions for 5 to 10 minutes and actually think about what would change that for you. And are you willing to do what that change requires? Because it doesn't have to be a photo shoot. It doesn't have to be something as drastic as that. But if you're feeling that sort of feeling, and I just shrugged for any listeners, if you're feeling, just going through the motions, you got to have a spark. What would that spark be for you? Knowing that if you locked in on your training, on your nutrition, on your activity levels, that's going to have unequivocally and undoubtedly huge benefits for literally every other aspect of your life. That's career, that's relationships, that's health markers. There's no downside to getting locked in for a period of time and experiencing the benefits that come with that. Like, you just have to sit down and have that conversation with yourself. And then once you've come to the conclusion, it's what's the next step.
So for you, it was a photo shoot. Let's just throw out some other ideas for people. It could be you find a training partner. It could be someone that you already see in the gym. Maybe you're slightly friendly with them, but you commit to being there at the same time and that you're going to buddy up. That can be a good forcing function as well, get you excited as well. It could be that you hire a personal trainer in the gym and now you've got money on the line, you've got buy-in, and also you want to turn up for them. It could be that you hire a coach like what we do, coaching. I mean, of course. It could be that you have a bet with friends. It could be that you sign up for it doesn't have to be like a physique challenge. It could be a race, right? Like some kind of run or cycle or whatever it is, but just something where it lights a fire in you again, so that then by the time you get to the end of that, of course you're happy, you're kind of at the end of it, but you're back into the rhythm and you're feeling good and you're like that. And so therefore you carry it on, you carry it through, right?
Exactly that. For some people, it's a holiday, like going away with family and wanting to feel really good and look good at the same time. That's key. You don't want anyone going on holiday feeling how I felt.
Yeah. And actually the other way around. So instead of people really wanting to work hard to get in shape for the holiday, for some people, they just need to take a holiday and not do anything. Right?
Very true.
I've got a client right now. He's spent most of the last, I think 3 out of the last 5 weeks in Greece. He had the opportunity. He was a week there with some friends. And then he was like, wow, that was amazing. He decided, he lives on the West Coast. He lives in San Francisco, I believe. It was just like, that was amazing. He was only back a week and he was like, screw it, I'm going to go. And he just took a bag and went island hopping around Greece. And I was all for it. Because I was like, actually, this is going to be a really valuable opportunity for you to continue to learn how much you can still maintain your physique, which was his best ever condition. Like, he is looking so good right now. I don't know. I'm just such a smile on my face. He sent some of the photos and it was a really good thing for him because he's learned that he can relax and still maintain. And he's also coming back to this now, feeling refreshed, ready to go, pumped. And right, let's push further. And so now we're just going to tidy up any slight amounts of fat regained. And then we're going to move back into maintenance and now into his first bulking phase. So it's very exciting.
Oh, that's exciting. Yeah. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Sam, anything else? I think
we covered it. Yeah.
Wonderful.
If you listen or watch this and you want to do a photo shoot, we'll power to you.
Appreciate your time, dear listener. Thank you for listening. If you're not on the email list, naughty, we have a good ethical bribe for you. Go to realbody.com, pop your email address in the box. We'll give you our 15-day email course on how to set up your nutrition and training. We'll give you our training plans. We'll give you our tracking spreadsheet, my nutrition book. Really, like, it's better than what most people sell, right? But hey, it's all free. And we'd love to have you. And we appreciate you listening. Sam, thank you for coming on and sharing. Thank you for being part of the team. 3 months in, you're absolutely crushing it, man. It's been fantastic to read through the emails that you've been having with clients. That's how we coach, by the way. I'll be on there. I'm reading through. Sometimes we discuss back and forth and what to do in certain situations. Often I'll read and I'll be like, oh, that's a fantastic idea. Share it with the team so that we're all getting better together. So yeah, it's great having you, Sam, and excited for, future work.
Me too. Very grateful, very thankful, and very happy to be here.
All right. Thank you.